Good Friday morning, everybody. I'm here with the Friday update. So the Thursday previews numbers are in for the new openings this weekend. The Frozen 2, 21 Bridges, and A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Let's see how those movies did in Thursday previews. First up, I'm at deadline.com, and as you can see from the headline right here, Frozen 2, which is going to be the biggest movie this weekend in theaters this weekend, had a Thursday night of 8.5 million in previews, which is actually pretty good. And scrolling down below, we have 11.4 million in China. They opened there already, and as you know, with animated feature film in China, those usually are hit and miss, especially like the Pixar one. Maybe there's a language barrier. I'm sure they did localization for these type of movies, but usually animated films don't do as well as the live action ones, especially action or movies with a huge star. That said, Frozen 2 is expected to open somewhere 100 million plus. Some said, as deadlines said right here, is a low end 90 million, but some said it could be like 100 to 135 million. And if we go to Box Office Mojo site right here, and they estimate that Frozen 2 is probably going to have an opening somewhere in the 120 million range. I said this movie could probably open somewhere in the 95 million-ish range. Could be more, but 95 is like a good solid number, because the previous Frozen, which was an original IP, opened to like 67 million 3 days. It managed to gross 400 million in North America and 1.2 billion worldwide. But it's actually pretty well reviewed, 90% on the tomato meter. But Frozen 2, the reviews dip a bit. If you go head on to Rotten Tomatoes right now, reviews for Frozen 2 is actually at 76%. This number, it's gonna probably the percentage is probably gonna stay somewhere in the 70% range or so. Maybe dip a little bit, or it could go higher as more reviews comes in. But it's gonna be it's not gonna be as well reviewed as the first movie. But since Frozen is a pretty well-known property right now, I don't think reviews is gonna hurt it as much, unless it's very poor and in the rotten range, like 40 or 50%, and then it's gonna have bad word of mouth. And this movie, according to some reviews, is actually a decent sequel to the first Frozen movie. Alright, let's move on to the other new release. Let's scroll down, and it is the Mr. Rogers biopic, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, starring Tom Hanks. And that movie managed to pull in 900K in Thursday previews, which began at 4 p.m. at 2,865 locations. And Deadline has a projection of 14 million for the weekend. Let's see what Box Office Mojo project the movie to open to. 17 million, so a bit higher there. And I had the movie opening to 10 million this weekend because Tom Hanks was in a similar biopic, Saving Mr. Banks, about Walt Disney and the author of Mary Poppins. That was back in 2013, and that movie opened to 10 million. And I expect this one to be similar. It's possible that Mr. Roger biopic is more popular since he has this long-running series on TV, and he is well loved, and the people who grew up with him still remember him, I guess. So it could be higher, but I'm going with 10 million this weekend. Alright, and finally we have 21 Bridges, which is the action thriller starring Chadwick Boseman. Thriller reviews wise, I forgot to mention that A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood is very well reviewed, 96% on the tomato meter. But is this one of these movies that's gonna open large? Probably not, but if it managed to open to 17 million, I think that's pretty good. But I'm still going to go with 10. Back to 21 Bridges, so 37% on the tomato meter, which is kind of average for these kind of genre films, by the way. Chadwick Boseman, as you know, is Black Panther, and he, in this movie, 21 Bridges, he plays a NYPD detective who's on the hunt for some criminals who killed some cops during a robbery, and he's out to hunt them. And he has this past where his dad was killed killed. He's a police officer as well. He was killed, and he like basically hate cop killers. Okay, so 21 Bridges has a 700K in Thursday previews, 2,665 screens, and this is a genre movie that's targeted toward the African American audience, which is pretty dependable. They turn out for these movies to support African American films. And let's see where I had the movie opening. I had the movie opening somewhere in the 15 to 20 million range because again of said demographics. And let's see what Box Office Mojo project the movie to open to. 9.7 million, so they projected lower than mine. Alright, that's it right now. Tune in next video to see how these movies did. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.